Hello, everyone. My name is Stanley St. Rose, and today we're going to be talking about Born a Crime. This is a memoir, pretty much like a autobiography by Trevor Noah, talking about how he grew up in South Africa, talking about apartheid. Now, before I go into summary analysis of this work, please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and/or comment so that the channel can continue to grow. Now, Born a Crime is a very interesting memoir. Here we have Trevor Noah talking about his life growing up, his early life, going into finding his identity, dating, business ventures. So it covers a big part of his life. Now, we all know Trevor Noah is a comedian. He's traveled the world, hosted his own TV show. So, he made it far in his life. But this work here really tells us a lot about his early upbringing. It's almost like an American, from rags to riches story. Your when you were born, apartheid existed, and then halfway through his childhood, halfway there, he apartheid ends, and he's able to enter school with different races, and it's pretty much a whole new world. Now, the early part of the work focuses on growing up with his mom, living underneath apartheid, dealing with school, having to live in neighborhoods that were meant for black people and ghettos and things like that, and also having to sneak into white neighborhoods or in white communities where his father, because his mother's black and his father's white, and they're living in a country where there's apartheid. You can imagine how difficult that is. No matter where you go, the family, or when they were together, it's not easy. So Trevor Noah, he's raised by his mother because with the terms of the country, he's determined to be non-white. I mean, he's half black, half white. That makes no sense, but according to the country, he's classified as non-white. So he pretty much had an upbringing where he wasn't accepted fully anywhere. He wasn't fully black. He wasn't fully white. After apartheid ends, when he goes to school, you don't fit into it's either you're too white or you're too black. There's no separate category for mixed. And so, I mean, this is the same thing a lot of people who are mixed face within the United States. Although it is easier for the United States because there's a lot of mixed people. There's a lot of races, a lot of people from different countries in the United States, and I can definitely tell you that in the United States you probably have multiple variations of people from different cultures, different countries, different continents. It's probably endless in the United States, the number of mixed people that there are. And so with Trevor Noah's story, it's a lot to take in. Trying to fit in, trying to understand yourself, trying to find your own identity. It's something that he had to grow up trying to understand his mother, his father, his place within South Africa, and after apartheid ends, trying to find his way amongst friends groups, trying to make friends, dealing with the challenges within the country, and growing up within that type of country, because this type of existence. It affects everything, from your education to your dating life to your social life to what opportunities you can have when you grow up. And ultimately, he even talks about how even though apartheid is over, the the country is still divided on many things based on skin color and blacks and whites, because things like that don't change overnight. It's going to take a long time for them to fully be integrated. So you can better believe that there are communities that are mostly black within South Africa and communities that are mostly white even to this day. In terms of deeper meaning and analysis, I mean, this is a story about coming of age, about growing up. This is like an American, blacks versus white story. but it's not in America. It's in South Africa. So it's very fascinating, very different from what I'm used to reading. Because I'm used to reading a lot of American slavery stories, freedom, civil rights. Um, this is not the case at all. South Africa is a whole different system, a whole different reality, and it's also in Africa. So it's like it feels so strange reading about the black white relationship on a different continent. Because you would imagine that black people would be the most comfortable in Africa because you have so many African countries. But even in Africa, for this to exist like this, it's really it's something that you wouldn't really fathom because it's so strange. It's so strange because even in America, there's some slaves after the slaves were set free. Some slaves went back to Africa, or um, there were movements of black people going back to Africa after the slaves were set free in America. Not all did that. Not all could afford it, but there were some campaigns for black people to go back to Africa, for Africans to go back to Africa. So to hear this type of story, this type of reality coming from a South African about being the child of a black woman and a white man in South Africa, it is mind-boggling. Because like you would think, well, this is Africa. All black people, it's not perfect, but being black in Africa wouldn't be an issue because it's Africa. Like so, there's a lot to think about here. But overall, this is definitely something that everybody should read because you're getting this individual's perspective on growing up underneath apartheid, his reality, finding his own identity within a country like this, dealing with his mother, his family, the different sides of his family, trying to find a way to fit in, and ultimately, he does say within the work that it's hard to find a place for yourself in a country like that because no matter what you look at it, no matter how you look at it, he's both black and white, and there's no 100% black and white country. So at some point, you do have to pick a side. Now, for most of us, since the country already determined that he's non-white, he pretty much had to move with, black culture. But he's not non-white. He's a mixed person. So it's an interesting looking at Trevor Noah's life, how he grew up, his life, and ultimately what he became. So that's what I had to say about this work. Please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and or comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video.